Welcome to the Career Coffee Chat live show and podcast for our New Year's edition. I'm Erin Urban, and I'm a certified career strategist and executive coach, and I help driven, experienced professionals remove career roadblocks so you can achieve more impact, influence, and income. And I'm very excited to bring to you the end of 2020. Yay, 2020. See you later, 2020. And welcome 2021. Today we'll be talking about some top insights and predictions for your career growth in 2021. And I'd love to hear from you as you jump on this live show today. Please say hi, say where you're from, say your name, and tell me what is your top word for 2021. If you had one word to choose for 2021, what is that word? And share that in the comments and in the chat today with me. If you've never seen me before, my name is CoachEUrban. You can find out more about me at CoachEUrban.com. And don't forget, the Career Coffee Chat podcast is available on all the major channels, including Google, Amazon, iTunes, you name it. It's all over the place, as well as my YouTube channel. You can find out more about that and access all of the previous Career Coffee Chat live shows and podcasts on my YouTube channel. So today, what we'll be talking about is, well, okay, number one, see you later, 2020. It was nice knowing you. And we learned a lot from 2020. I'm sure you will agree with me that while 2020 was definitely a challenging year, we did learn a lot in the year. And what's interesting is we don't necessarily learn tremendously or see tremendous growth when everything is smooth sailing. I wish it were the case. Trust me, I do. And to stick to a note of positivity, there's a lot of things that are good that came out of 2020, even though a lot of things were very challenging. But today we'll be focusing on how to set you up for the optimal career growth in 2021. So I'd love to hear from you as you hop on the show. Say hi, say where you're from. I'd love to welcome you to the show, and let's get started making this new year a fantastic year for you. So first of all, what are our top predictions for 2021? Well, for one thing, and probably comes as no surprise to you, is more automation and digitalization. Hundreds of thousands of professionals have lost their jobs due to the pandemic. And the big question is, will those jobs come back? Companies are fully embracing automation, particularly in the areas of customer service and anything that can be automated, such as help desk and customer interaction. As many of you have already experienced, when you have a question, you want to go to the website, oftentimes there is what's called a chatbot. While some people think that they can get a lot of things accomplished through the chatbot, I would have to argue that I'm not a big fan. What will happen as a result is this will shift what types of jobs are available moving forward. Data science, data engineering, IT infrastructure programming, and IT project management roles are all on the rise. While a lot of the digitalization, automation is changing the types of jobs, it's not necessarily taking jobs away. It is, in fact, creating opportunity for different types of jobs that focus on implementing, supporting, and creating these types of digitalization and virtual interactions for customers and companies. Another thing that's going on, and we're seeing a big surge in, is called a digital transformation. Digital transformation roles are for those companies who want and need to pivot to meet the demands of a squeezed economy, particularly traditional energy companies. For those of you in Houston, Texas, a lot of energy companies are finding that they need to shift how they do business. And operationally, quite frankly, historically, the overhead has been way too high. As a result, energy companies do need to play in the global market. In order to do so, they have to lower the overhead cost. In other words, embrace more AI, automation, processes that require virtual and digitalization transformation. So types of roles that enable this and empower this to happen, they will be on the rise. So keep your eyes out. For those of you who are in IT project management, I encourage you to look into any types of courses that you can take to get more familiar with digital transformation or robotic process automation, or RPI. And these are terms that we'll come across later on in the show. So as you hop on, just please do say hi, say where you're from. I know this is a quiet week for most of you, and many of you will be watching the show later. And I'm just going to make sure on my technology device here that we are indeed live and that nothing funky or weird has happened. So let's see here. I am indeed live. Okay, we're good to go. So as you hop in and just let me know, what is your top word for 2021? What's that top word for you in 2021? What does that look like for you? What are you looking forward to? Is that top word hope or transformation or new job? Well, maybe that's 2 words. But what is your top word for 2021? So move forward with my top predictions for 2021. No big surprise again, remote work is here to stay. The challenge is, how do we build connections in a virtual environment? The pros are you get to work from home in your pajamas or whatever. You get to save money on formal work clothes, and for some, work at your own pace. The cons of working from home are kind of a laundry list. Building relationships takes longer and require more intentionality. Zoom fatigue is a real issue, and effective meetings need much more emphasis by companies and organizations. Most professionals report that having a healthy work-life balance is a real issue. Some of that is due to survivor's guilt. I have a job, therefore I must work my tail off to keep it. And that means eliminating some boundaries that would normally be there. The work cutoff times in order to get home, to commute, pick up the kids, etc. That's not there anymore. So what's happening is professionals are working much, much longer versus having a healthy work-life balance. In fact, the opposite is true right now. So if that rings a bell for you, I encourage you to investigate your use of calendar time and setting blocks of time where you can take brain breaks and give yourself that healthy work-life boundary and an alert to let you know, hey, now is the time to turn off the computer and focus on family time. Okay. Additionally, working from home creates a big issue when it comes to voluntary attrition for working moms. Okay, that is a big strain on working mothers, particularly during the times for those working moms or dads that have been taking up a bulk of childhood education at the same time you're working remotely. How in the world can anybody do that? That's a major strain. So a lot of voluntary attrition has actually happened by working moms who have had to leave their work, or working dads who have had to leave their work and take care of children who are also being educated from home. Big problem. So 2021, many companies will be probably moving into a hybrid model. Like my husband's company, for example, they're already talking about having certain individuals in the office on certain days and other individuals in the office on other days. And that's to mitigate any sort of, social condensing and to increase social distancing, as well as mitigate their overhead. It doesn't take much stretch of the imagination to understand what cost savings not having warm bodies in seats in an office actually creates for companies and organizations. So for those of you tuning in, what's your top word for 2021? Great to see you, Paula, tuning in from Kansas City. Hi, Jill from Boston. Great to see you tuning in. Amin, great to see you from Canada. Thank you for tuning in. I know it's a lot colder there than here today. We're in the 70s, but not for long. Don't worry. It's Texas. If you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes. It'll change. So, Amin, great to see you from India. Paula said her top word is getting hired. All right, Paula. That is a great word to have for 2021. Amin says he actually has 2 words to takeaways and for 2021, change and adapt. Yes, absolutely. In fact, as soon as the pandemic was quote unquote officially announced in the US, the first thing I did was, okay, how can I change and pivot to adapt to the new situation? And a lot of that was virtual shows and presentations and live speaking events virtually, like this one right now. Great to see you, Phil. Glad to have you on the show this morning. He's tuning in from Cypress, Texas. Randy, always pleasure to see you. 2 words, he says. Work-life balance, absolutely. Working remote lets me work more than I should, as we just talked about. And that's right. So working remotely and having that boundary is super, super important. I mean, not only physically, but also emotionally and for your mental health as well. Hey, here is a top tip for you people who might call yourself workaholics during this particular time, even if you weren't before and you're finding yourself stretching those work-life boundaries. Keep in mind this. The more you work, so the longer period of time that you actually focus on a task, the less productive you become. So actually, neuroscience has found over time, if you're doing focus work, you can really only expect your brain to focus for about an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes max before you start to lose productivity. And that's because your task positive network gets fatigued, just like anything else. It's almost like asking yourself to run at a really high pace for a long period of time. You just cannot do that. You have to allow your body to rest. Same thing for your brain. You need to allow your brain to take a break. So it's really important to take at least 3 what I call brain breaks a day to allow your task positive network to take a break, chill out, focus on something else. Usually a great focus is something that's automatic for you. You really don't have to think about it, like washing dishes or folding clothes or going for a walk, just allowing that task positive network to take a break. So I encourage you to do that. And for those of you who just think push through and I'll get this done, actually it takes you a lot longer than if you just allowed yourself 5 to 10 minutes break 3 times a day. So keep that in your back pocket when you find yourself pushing yourself a little bit harder than you should. Let's see, we have Samim. He says resilience is his word for 2021. Thank you, Samim. That's a really good one as well. We have a lot of good words here. Amy, great to see you tuning in from Surfside Beach. She says, I'm looking forward to 2021. And Amin says it's minus 12 degrees in Canada right now. I'll let you keep that one. That's okay. Yeah, you can keep that. I don't want that. So let's see. Victoria, great to see you tuning in from Katy, Texas. Linda, great to see you tuning in from Houston, Texas. She says her words are new certifications. Hi, Suresh. Dr. Suresh tuning in I'm butchering people's names. I will admit it's been a really busy couple of weeks for me. For some of you, you already know, I've moved my mother from Virginia, which is on the East Coast of the U.S., to Texas in 10 days. Let that sink in. 10 days. My mother let me know, or it became obvious, that at the beginning of December, we needed to move her sooner rather than later, as originally expected. So we had to make this happen in a very short time frame. So I'm a little fried. So if I do anything, stumble over some words, you know why. That's my excuse anyway. I'm sticking to it. So Aletha, great to see you tuning in from Houston, Texas. Her word is flexibility, or his. I don't have a photo, so I could be wrong. Dr. Suresh says, okay, I think we should be thinking of our mind, which took a beating in 2020, and seeing what extra we can do for income differently. Maybe an online opportunity. Absolutely. Christine says change is her word. Great to see you, Christine. Tuning in from Hopewell Junction, New York. And Linda, always great to see you. Congrats, she says. I'm moving my mom. Yes, it's 10 days. Woohoo. Alan says his top words is, I did know how to pronounce this, Alan. Bear with me. Never mind. I'm not even bothering. My brain is totally fried. So 2021 for me has fried my brain. So 2021, I'm looking for a fresh brain. So let me know if you have one and I'll take it from you for a low cost. So Japanese secret to a long and happy life. Great to have you all tuning in today. And I have a lot of things to go over with you. So get ready. We're going to talk about all kinds of great predictions for 2021, what you can look forward to for your career growth, and making sure that you can optimize your strategy to get the most out of the coming year. A lot of good news coming your way. So let's talk about what we have here. So we talked a little bit about already remote work pros, cons, what we can look forward to in 2021 is probably more of a hybrid model with companies having quote unquote swing days for different professionals to be in the office and save money. It doesn't take a great leap of faith to understand that companies save a lot of money when they are not purchasing or renting office space, which leads into the next topic. Commercial real estate is taking a beating. It's seeing an enormous vacancy problem with companies saving money through remote working. So office buildings, office furniture suppliers, office food catering companies, commercial office supply companies are all suffering as a result of this massive shift to remote work. And what's happening is also, in the interest of remote, telehealth. I don't know if some of you have used that, if any of you have used virtual doctor visits or telehealth. If you feel comfortable sharing, please say so in the chats and the comments. Actually, I thought about doing that as well for my asthma medication. I was like, well, why go in to the doctor and potentially expose yourself to a social distancing or lack thereof? Virtual healthcare has taken off and is reinventing how we get medical treatment and advice. According to McKinsey & Company surveys, 46% of patients were using virtual Medicare or telehealth in June alone. And based on the same survey, 57% of providers view telehealth now in a more favorably now that they have tried it and indeed had to rely on it in 2020. 64% of people report that they are more comfortable using it as well, and virtual consultations allow doctors to see 50 to 100% more patients than they would under normal circumstances. Okay, side note, this is how they make money. So what's also interesting is the cost of a telehealth or virtual doctor's visit is a little less in most cases. So what happens is we have this shift that they actually are making more money by seeing more people, even though it's a less cost. I think that's not necessarily a bad thing for you and I. I mean, think about it. How aggravating is it to have to schedule time off, have to get in your car and drive wherever it is? And then do you ever get admitted at the time of your appointment? No, you have to wait. I've never been to a doctor that I didn't have to wait at least 30 minutes. Never. So this mitigates that problem and virtually eliminates it and gives you a lot more time, and you still get pretty good results. Now, for those of you who need urgent care, of course, there's still that. But this is really reinventing how we get medical treatment. And for those of you in the medical field, it'll be reinventing the medical field quite a bit. Additionally, it also mitigates the potential exposure to infectious diseases for both doctors and patients. Another prediction for 2021, home buying market. Regardless of the loss of jobs, interestingly enough, the amount of savings across the population in the U.S. specifically is actually increased. This means more money in the pockets of many Americans to purchase homes. In fact, we're in a buyer's market at the moment, which means the buyers get to buy more home for less money. So if you are thinking of selling a home, keep that in mind. You probably won't get quite the value you could have gotten in 2019, for example. Good news is the economy will bounce back in 2021, according to many experts and economists. A prediction backed by Wall Street. In fact, this new administration is considered less risky than the previous one, and the balance of parties in the governmental structure will make radical changes less likely. So overall, as a global economy is looking at America, they're considering America less risky moving forward into 2021. Interestingly, on a flip note, AR and VR industries will grow astronomically. In fact, by an estimated $30 billion. Woohoo! What was considered a fun and expensive pastime or interesting demo at expos will find its way into our everyday lives. Now, what is AR and VR? AR is assisted reality. VR is virtual reality. The pandemic has sped up this focus into AR, augmented or assisted reality, and VR, virtual reality, as a way to interact digitally and also do a lot of marketing. So the information I have was really from the marketing side of it, but I see a lot more potentials for AR and VR. Even in the scientific research realm, doctors and medical visits, if you want to take it that far, and they're thinking about advertising in these spaces. But I see it as a great way to interact, and potentially when we're talking about conferences and expos may be totally and are being totally reinvented. What we have right now is a big gap in how people interact and build connections in the virtual space, and they're looking to AR and VR as a hopeful supplement to help that facilitate those connections in the virtual space. In fact, Facebook has already introduced a new AR products, and Google is looking into them as well. On a side note, we've talked about career and industry related things, and this is somewhat along this industry related. Is it the end of movie theaters and shopping malls? Might be. When it comes to movie theaters, audiences will have very little incentive to pay higher prices to go see a new release in a movie theater. Now that we can do it virtually in comfort of our own homes and not have to pay, $15 for a bag of popcorn. Is it the end of shopping malls? Maybe. More and more people are less and less inclined to go shopping when you can buy most things online and have it delivered. Why bother with the traffic, finding a parking spot, all the hassle, and dragging those things home? Retailers may actually have to incentivize people to go and shop in person. Here's a interesting development for you. I learned about this very recently. Maybe I'm just behind the times. Deep fake technology. How many of you have heard of deep fake technology? Please type in the chat or the comments if you've heard of deep fake technology. This is advancing tremendously, and it'll make it harder and harder for public, you and I, to know what is real and what isn't real when it comes to videos. In fact, something like this, someone can completely do a deep fake or AI rendition of me talking on the screen, and you would never know the difference. What is interesting about this, according to some recent reading that I've done, deepfake technology has some very scary implications, in fact. We saw some of the shock waves from very cheap and basic video editing during the last elections. I advise doing a little research and maybe Snopes or etc. before you jump to any conclusions to any sort of sensational video releases of something that has happened. So deepfake technology can actually make anybody say or do anything, and you're none the wiser. Ooh, interesting. So, what are you looking forward to in 2021? For those of you tuned into the Career Coffee Chat show today, let me know what you are looking forward to. So we talked about our top word for 2021 and maybe 2022. What are you looking forward to in 2021? Now, I know Paula said she wants to get hired, so that's probably Paula's focus, but what are you looking forward to, or what are your biggest questions about 2021 when it comes to career growth? Definitely want you to pop those in the comments in the chat, because this is an interactive time and I want to make sure I answer those questions if you have some burning question in your mind about what to look forward to, what to avoid in 2021 when it comes to your career and career growth. Please let me know. So let's talk about, well, before we start talking about anything, all right, so we're good so far. How to prep for an outstanding new year and career growth insights to kick 2021 off in style. And let's see, Randy says he's looking forward to working all year. Yes. The good news is, Randy, the economy, according to many specialists and experts and backed by Wall Street, will improve. Specifically in America is what they're talking about, but the economy will improve. So 2 thumbs up for that. Now, there are a few things that we do need to keep in mind as the economy does improve. So how can you prep for that improving economy and either have a better career growth experience or job search experience in 2021? Just know that things will take a little longer to take off in the spring, particularly for the job search market and new positions, than it has been in years previously. Not 2021 notwithstanding, prior to that, prior to the pandemic. So be patient and be diligent. Just know it will happen and it is coming. So as the economy improves, businesses will be looking to hire top talent, and it is still a competitive job market. So make sure that you're prepared to stand out, not on the sidelines. So here's some things that you can expect. One of those are more emphasis on certifications. Yay! Yeah. So we're already a certification happy society, and now companies will be even more focused on what qualifications you have in addition to your on-the-job experience. Also facilitating this is a lot of professionals have taken their unlooked for pandemic pause to focus on gaining certifications or additional education. Speaking of education, while getting an MBA does not automatically qualify you for leadership, the jury is out on whether or not it will be a requirement in the future before you can move up into upper management. So for those senior leadership roles, I love how they use senior leadership, whether you're a leader or not, it's never mind. Anyway, so we'll see. I have expectations that there will be more emphasis on certifications, and on the plus side, it will be easier to get certified in a wider variety of different things. And part of this is because we're stepping back from that in-person working environment, and people need some sense of security about what you can and cannot do. With that being said, there will be more emphasis on that piece of paper or that stamp of approval that you can do X, Y, or Z. So prepare wisely for an increasing economy and a digitized society. Interestingly, now that we've been forced to interact virtually, what matters when you present yourself to others has changed. Perception management has always been important, and now you need to know what matters and what doesn't when it comes to showing up 100% in the virtual space. Now, with that being said, be sure to pick up my book that releases on January 27th, How to Elevate Your Career for More Impact and Income. Again, available on January 27th. This coming month, just know there will be a big book launch. I'm even thinking about working on a workbook to be an augment of that book. And it is all about how to manage perceptions and show up. You know, what is your brand? How are you perceived? And is that facilitating your career growth? This is a big deal. Quite frankly, while we drive our credibility, we do not determine it. Other people do. And this is a very hard lesson I had to learn, and all of my clients are having to learn as well. But the benefit is once you do understand it and you know how to manage perceptions and have a quote unquote executive presence or have a better presence as you intend to have, you will see the career growth you want. Because you get this big question, what's my brand? Well, your brand is a part of that. How people perceive you is your brand, and it is everything about you. What you say, how you say it, your facial expressions, what you wear that people can see, everything from here up. What shows up in the camera defines a vast part of your virtual brand. So questions to ask yourself are, how much energy do you bring or not? How much do you participate in the virtual environment when you connect with other people? And how intentional are you when it comes to creating those quote unquote tiny moments with other people? In our previous show with Chris Coladonato, she shared about how important tiny moments really are and how to be intentional about that. So if you haven't seen that show, I encourage you to hop over to my YouTube channel and check that out, or on the Career Coffee Chat business page here right on LinkedIn. You know, what is your tone of voice? So another question to ask yourself, what is your tone of voice and body language? What does it say about you? And do you have presence? In other words, you've heard a lot about executive presence, and it's a hot topic right now. But what is that? Well, basically, it's your way you show up to other people. Exhibiting a calm and balanced confidence is key. And your ability to do that is very critical when it comes to your credibility and your ability to grow your career. Now, if you're curious about how to show up at your best during interviews, for example, be sure to go to the Career Coffee Chat show page, either on LinkedIn or my YouTube channel, and check out how to interview with impact virtually. That's there as well. So I see a question here. Amy is asking, she says, interesting you mentioned certifications will take an increasing focus. She goes, I'm the chair of certifications for local SME, local chapter. Yay, PMI. Do you see certifications for all levels, technical machinists up to leadership? Yes, certifications on all levels. In fact, even minor things. So take, for example, when I opened the show, I started talking about some of the areas of emphasis, industries that are increasing and industries that are growing, and predictions in 2021. If you are interested, let's just take, for example, in project management, and you want to focus on digital transformation roles, I encourage you to start seeking out different types of certifications and education you can get around that. That will be very important, and more so moving forward. We are seeing a lot of, like, let's just say the PMP, for example, that's a big certification, or your MBA, that's a big educational thing. We're also seeing smaller ones. So we'll say those are supplemental incremental ones that will also be needed in addition to these larger CPA and PMP, etc. So you will see these in addition. So it's almost like a qualifier. I'm a PMP and I'm certified in robotic process automation implementations. Right. So that is something that will be happening in the future, and is already started. We already set the stage pre-pandemic to be more heavily focused on certifications, and that will increase as we move forward. One of the reasons is because we are working in a more remote environment. We're not having a lot of that one-on-one contact. So that feeling of I know you, you know me, you're a good person is harder to come by. So people will want to have a piece of paper or something that says, yes, Amy can do this thing. That makes sense. So Randy shared I'm starting remote PM role next Monday. Randy, let us know how that turns out. And by the way, congratulations. Yay! Round of applause for Randy. All right. Awesome. So let me know if you have any other questions about 2021, what you're concerned about, what you want to know, as far as expectations, or is there something you're focusing on for 2021 and you just need some advice? I'm here and I'm happy to help you. Before we wrap up the show, I have a few other things and top tips for you for 2021. Now, come to no surprise to any of you who know me very well that I will say this: articulate your accomplishments. You must be able to speak confidently about your career contributions and how you plan to leverage them in the roles you seek. It's fine to talk about your career history. Your career history is important, but it's also very important to talk about how you plan on leveraging that expertise for the roles you seek, particularly in the interview, but also on your LinkedIn profile and your resume. If you struggle with this, I encourage you to check out my Impact Inventory, which is free to you, and that's at CoachEUrban/impact.gr8.com. And what I'll do is I'll also add that in the comments. So this is one of them. And then we'll have another one here. Yes, I'm having to do this on a different device because otherwise it gets weird. So let's see. Copy. And well, there we go. All right, so you have both of those. So I've just posted not only my free impact inventory. So for those of you who kind of struggle with articulating your career contributions, not quite sure how to go about it, you can get access to that at CoachEUrban/impact.gr8.com. And of course, my holiday sale, don't forget, is a great way to work on your resume now at a very low cost investment. And if you want to look at growing your career or getting career clarity, I have something for everyone in the holiday sale, and it does end at midnight on New Year's Eve. So moving on, make sure to feed your career contributions into your resume and on your LinkedIn profile. This makes sure you stand out as an ideal candidate on your resume, and make sure that if you're focusing, as you should, your resume to the role you're seeking, that you are standing out as an ideal candidate in the first half of the first page. Because recruiters won't read your whole resume, they need to know you're the best candidate right away. They will not try to figure it out. You need to make it obvious for them. Now, when you do feed your contributions into your LinkedIn profile, and it does include dollars and cents, you might want to be cautious about putting that on your LinkedIn profile and only add the dollars and cents that you know is public knowledge, or if it's been forever ago, it doesn't really matter. Just know that if it was forever ago, you don't want to make it past the year 2000. So anything prior to the year 2000, I would encourage you adding it on your LinkedIn profile or your resume. If you do need to add it to your resume, you can do that under additional experience and just list the contributions themselves without associating them to a specific role or time frame. So work on your sales pitch. When it comes to your career contributions and articulating your value, I encourage you to, number one, understand and communicate what are your career growth goals. Even if you are gainfully employed, actually, especially if you are, you should still be doing this. Articulating your career growth goals to those who are in your network, your support group, and your upper management as appropriate is a very good way to make sure that people keep you top of mind. And also be prepared to present why you will add value and how you will add value to the roles you seek. Right? So don't just leave it at, I'm looking for X, and this is how I'm going to make it awesome. So for those of you tuning in, again, what are your top questions for 2021 and how do you want to prepare for 2021? All right, so let me know, because we're getting ready to wrap up the show, what questions you have. The industries that are booming right now. No surprise, technology industry is a major player in the rising economy. However, tech will play bigger roles in a wider variety of jobs than we have seen before. For example, expect roles that have historically only had tech play a small part or a portion of what they've done will take an even bigger interest in digitalization across all forms and functions. So also what you can expect is specifically AI or RPI, robotic process automation or implementation, will take off like a rocket. In fact, it kind of already has. Most companies will be looking to reduce their overhead and make processes more efficient and less costly. In other words, automation will be a major, major focus. Digital transformation roles are the new tech project management focus of the future. There's a serious need for those who can help companies shift their processes from more those old cumbersome manual processes and embrace a remote workforce and automation as well. So for those of you who are familiar with IT and you're in a project management role, considering digital transformations or similar type roles, and they do come under different titles. So just look for those. For those of you who are in continuous improvement, AI, RPI, robotic process implementation type work is the wave of the future, and that will be a great takeoff for those of you who love to make processes more efficient. In addition, supply chain and logistics is already booming, and I don't think they slowed down at all for the pandemic. In fact, they went crazy, and they will continue to do so. In fact, anything that allows people to work from home, isolate more easily, interact in a virtual environment, and have things delivered is a business that will thrive. So virtual communication coaching. Now, this is a focus area that I am predicting is needed, and I'm seeing a small amount of emphasis on already. In fact, the guest in my last show does this full time. It's no secret that building relationships in a virtual environment takes more time and intentionality. Companies that do not preemptively focus on the need to help their employees make the shift from the in-person environment to more digitally managed communications will see performance suffer, because it's not inherent to us. We did not just develop and evolve in an environment that helped us understand how to communicate and evolve through virtual reality or staring at a camera and a bunch of faces on a screen. It's not natural for us. So we need help in that area, and companies need to focus on making meetings more productive, more interactive, and helping people create those tiny moments and building communication and building relationships with other people and connecting more effectively. So what other questions do you have? I'm just going to take a quick look at the chat. I don't see any other questions, but if you do have questions later or you're watching the replay, please do pop them in the comments. I will get notified and I will see them, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Or you can personal message me directly or email me as you feel free or want to do. I'm happy to help you. I am looking forward to 2021, ladies and gentlemen. I am. And I will also admit that 2020 has not been a bad year, and I'll share with you why. I was one of the first people to say, hey, let's do virtual presentations. Let's help people, because I foresaw the need to help people get real results with their resumes, LinkedIn, their job search, and grow their careers in a very challenging time. So I feel very fortunate, and I appreciate all of you watching. I do, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate all of you, and it's been a deep pleasure and a joy to be here and help you through this challenging time. I'm just so very grateful that I was able to get my certification, my approval for LinkedIn Live, as well as being live on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm just so happy that I can help you through shows like this and presentations. And also, don't forget that I have my blog series going on right now. So you haven't subscribed to my blog channel, please do so, because you'll be sure to be notified. And what I am doing in my career growth blog series is I'm going from A to Z and beyond as far as it comes to growing your career, finding a job, getting clarity, etc., and then some. And I'm really looking forward to it. It's been a lot of fun so far. And also, of course, my book launch coming up soon. It's been a great pleasure to serve all of you, truly, through these events, the Career Coffee Chat Show. And I am wishing from the bottom of my heart that for 2021, that is filled with nothing but happy surprises, and that you all have something to look forward to. And I'm looking forward to kicking off, in fact, our new year with some amazing guests. We have Dr. Rob Pennington next week, and also Jill is going to be a special guest talking about mindset and how to get clarity in your career growth strategy. And she's going to be on Thursday. So we have Dr. Rob Pennington on Tuesday, and Jill is going to talk to us on Thursday. It's a special Career Coffee Chat show. So we got 2 next week, and I'm very excited. So I hope to see you soon. Many thanks to you. Happy New Year's, everyone. And here is to an amazing 2021. Until next time.